Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici, come state? State bene? Welcome my friends, my name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel, Fountain Pen Therapy. From the golf course to the Fountain Pen Therapy studios, stay tuned, my weekly recap for June 2nd, 2024, folks. Well, folks, welcome back. Yes, from the golf course. My golf game this morning, guys, top notch, top notch. I'm really in a good mood. It's a beautiful weekend in Montreal, by the way. We've got some great weather. My son's running a marathon tomorrow. A little bit overcast, which is going to be good for him. I've got another golf game that makes it 3 in a row. And I'm telling you, my swing is back, the putting is there, and the club's got our perfect conditions, so everything is set, folks. And I'm back at the Fountain Pen Therapy studio, as I mentioned, and we're all set to give you another great show for this weekend. I've got some nice things to show you, some great things to talk about. It's Fountain Pen Therapy, so without any further ado, let's look at what's new in products, be it fountain pens, ink, or paper. Okay, what do I got for you for some pen trends or pen news? I think news is maybe being overlooked, but I'm sure some of you, if not all of you, have seen this. As we know, Gravitas pens Ben from Gravitas makes some gorgeous pens. Sometimes a little pricey for me, but you know what? I've got 2 of them. And what I've learned, and I was watching one of their videos, is that Pen Venture and Gravitas have kind of got together, and they're going to team up, and I think they're going to make a great team. Some wonderful things I think are going to come from that. So I think I'm going to let them speak just for a few seconds. Let me just switch to their most recent video, and I think it speaks for itself.
Video just for you all to find out what we've been going to call the next phase in our journey.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So what I understand is that Gravitas was having some problems with the logistics. Answering customer support, transportation, getting the orders in, getting the orders out. Ben's a technical guy. He's the guy who inspires all the pens, the materials he uses, the designs, and he was having a hard time trying to do both. In fact, that explains why the last pen I ordered from Gravitas, which was I think one of those Ultim pocket pens, took forever to come. It just wasn't coming, and I had to write to him twice. I never got a response, and I was wondering what was going on. And now I think we understand that he was having some difficulties keeping up, so to speak. And he's gotten together with Pen Venture. Pen Venture is going to take of all the logistics, I guess the website things, the orders, et cetera, and so that Ben can concentrate on what ultimately is his forte, which is going to be, designing the pens, getting new materials. And I really invite you to take a look at that video. I put it up on the screen. The review they did this week. They go through all of what they went through, where they're going, and how they're going to team up. And I think it's going to be a great thing. So I think we got some very nice things to look forward to. What else have I got for you in terms of pens? Well, I think Pilot Custom 823 is making the news these days for two reasons. The first reason is, let me just show you. Yeah, we're going to cut. That's a Pen Chalet short review. It's the Custom 823 Clear. Finally got to North America. And there it is. Man, oh man. I just got my 823 a few months ago. Had I known, I would have perhaps gone for this, clear model. The second thing that Pilot has come up with for here in North America is the Pilot Signature Nib. And I've got to tell you, I recommend that you watch. It's in the Pen Spotlight section of the Goulet Pen Company's weekly blog, or the Pencast, if you will, the weekly Pencast. And by the way, those Pencasts, I just realized, are really fabulous stuff. They not only try to sell pens, they go through some very interesting questions. I think it's the best podcast from the retailers, if you will, or from the sellers of pens that's out there. And I think you should catch it every single week, including mine. Don't forget mine. But Pen Goulet, Goulet Pens has got a real nice one. And yeah, this is the signature nib.
I'm not seeing a lot of difference at all. Right? And that's fine. But if I hold it at a higher angle, and I'm going to kind of go more to the extreme here, and then I go down, it's actually still pretty smooth here. Normally when you have a pen and you hold it at a pretty steep angle, it starts to feel kind of scratchy and stingy. But this actually holds up quite well. Yeah, it looks good. But then on the cross stroke here, it gets a lot thinner, right? Very.
Yeah, so what they do is they go through the signature nib, that beautiful signature nib, and when I first started watching this, I said, Jesus, I should have just waited just a few more months. I would have gotten my 823 with this signature nib, which essentially is a broad nib with some stubby line variations. But at the end of the day, when you finish looking at the video, there's not much line variation from that nib. But if you're interested in thinking about getting that nib or getting the 823 with that nib, and I think the signature nib now comes with other models from Pilot Custom as well, I suggest you take a look at this short. He goes through the whole thing. If you hold the pen a little more upright, it gives you a little more line variation. If you hold the pen really down low, it's just a broad, very wet nib. And at the end of the day, I think the consensus is that maybe there's not as much line variation as one would like. But in any event, I think that a very interesting pen use. The other thing is Opus 88 is in the news. Opus 88 is in the news with two models. You've got several reviewers. First of all, you got Gold Spot, which again has gone through its blitz. It's got an exclusive pen, so it sends a bunch of pens, free pens, to a bunch of reviewers. You got JG3 reviews. You got Mike Matheson. You got Leanne Likes. They got free pens, and they're reviewing the Opus 88. And which one are they reviewing? They're reviewing, let me just cut. They're reviewing this one, Opus 88 Demo Fountain Pen in Twilight Sonata. There's also an ink that goes with that. The ink is called, one second, I want to get this right. It's a Waringal ink Call of the Cthulhu. And it looks like a very interesting resin. I mean, this is a pen we've seen before. It's the huge, big pen. But here again, exclusive pen. I understand that this is a very interesting, and there's the ink, very interesting resin, and therefore should be sold at a premium. But that price tag, $210 American. Canadian is $300 for an Opus 88. Again, I'm sorry, folks. As nice as this resin may look, I'm not sure it's worth the money. Now, if you don't have an Opus 88 and you don't want to get their classic demonstrator clear, I've got about 3 or 4 of them because it is a great pen. I would recommend this one. Let me just show you. Stilo Stile is selling this pen, which is called the Blue Whale, and Fig Boot, I think, is reviewed it this week. If you're interested, take a look at it. But look at the price. It's 114 euros, which in the US dollars is roughly $120. So it would be substantially less than that other model. And for any of you who are interested in getting the Opus 88 model and you don't have one already, Stilo Stile, I think at 114 euros is a great buy, So I'm not sure which one I would get, but I wouldn't spend $210 on the Opus 88. That's my personal opinion. Next, what have I got for you? Well, for paper, one of you has asked me, can you take a look at Dominant Industry, the ink archiving book, and if you could review it. And what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to review this book. The book is kind of a pen, but also it has you can have some fun drawing and using your inks. You know what? I'm feeling more artistic, even though I'm not. But I feel like I need some of this. I think it would be a lot of fun taking a bunch of inks and trying to just color in all these, it's like a coloring book. And at the same time, do some writing, some swatching. So, you know what? This could be a good summer project on the porch, get a bunch of inks, and just have a good time. So I think I'm going to order this book, and then we'll review it together. And you know what? It looks like it's got a lot of pages. So it probably will keep me busy for quite a while. So you know what? I figured I would order that. And Stilo Stile's got it for 24 euros. I think I can probably get it on a US site for just as very good price. I think Pen Chalet is selling it as well. So that's what I got for you in terms of the paper news. What have I got for you for some ink news? Well, here we go for ink. Let me just go to my overhead camera and show you some of the inks I got. I got this week, as you may have recalled, and sorry, I'm away from my mic. Just give me a second here so that I can put my overhead camera Okay, here we go. Yeah, I've ordered, you remember, I think I mentioned it, I've ordered these Van Dieman's Encore inks, and I've ordered 4 of them. The Barber de Seville, Standing Ovation, Crescendo, and Avant-Garde. And as you can see, the Avant-Garde is probably green with some shimmer, some sheen. Crescendo looks like an orangey or red with some sheen. Standing Ovation is kind of a purplish, pinkish green. And then you've got Barber of Seville, which is a blue with red sheen. I stayed away from the shimmering inks and I just ordered some of these sheening inks. We got 4 of them. I'm going to review 2 of them this week. In detail, I'm going to swatch these 2. Van Dieman's also was kind enough to send me a little swatch of Swan Lake. So I'm going to swatch these 3 this week and the other two next week. But that's what I got for you for in terms of inks. And Ken, I encourage you to use my fountain pen therapy code and you'll get a 10% discount. Now, what else have I got for you? Yes. Folks, I got to tell you that, let me just get to it here. This Magna Carta Mag 600 with that number 6 size flex nib is really tempting me. But look at the price tag on this thing. It's $315. So for Canadians, this pen, if I order it from Pen Chalet, will cost me $450. And I'm not sure that I want to take that jump yet. But apparently it's a brand new nib. And it's got some very interesting new resin models. Instead of that boring black, take a look at this. So that's what's tempting me now. It's also got it this way. Take a look at that. So you know what? I think that I may be tempted to go for it. Pen Chalet makes a nice introduction, shows that pen off. You know, you got your back black, classic black, but you know, with that beautiful flex nib. It is a cartridge converter, and you know, it's got some beautiful lines. That flex nib is revolutionary from what I understand, and it's brand new. I think they fixed some stuff with it. So if you guys are interested in flex nibs, it's really tempting me. It's really tempting me. But what I've decided is I would take that $450 and invest it in some vintage flex nibs. So I've got a couple of vintage pens coming in, and that I'm going to show you as soon as I get them. And I'm still looking for more. I had a chance to get my hands on a Pelican M140, which I understand is a beautiful flexi nib, vintage. I think, you know, I was on Katawiki. It was $40 US. Then we bid last 5 minutes. There was an auction, 45, 50, 55, 65, 75, 85. When I got to 85, I stopped. I said, no, I'm paying too much money for this. It's 85 US, which means about 130 Canadian, plus $40 of shipping. So I was looking at 150, 160, and I wasn't sure whether that Pelican was worth that. At the end of the day, it went for 105 US. For the Americans, 105 US, $40 of shipping, 140 bucks. $140 US, that Pelican may be worth that. You guys, the vintage people out there, you know, was $140 US, was it worthwhile getting that Pelican M140? Let me know. I understand it's just a gorgeous gold nib, really flexy. The vintage people, please tell me, because you know it's kind of going to give me an idea of whether or not next time I should have stayed in the competition and maybe gotten it at the auction. So there you have it in terms of pen, ink, and paper news. So what have I proposed next? Well, stay tuned. I'm going to show you my pen haul for the week, some of the pens I've gathered. Stay tuned. Okay, for the pen haul for this week, well, first of all, I've got two pens on order, and I'll show them up on the screen. Got this Dieman 1935, which is yet to arrive. It's on my doorstep. I'm in Montreal, and from what I understand, the pen is in Toronto. So I suspect I'm going to get that Dieman 1935 sometime during the week. Fontaine de Plume, one of the French channels that I recommend to you guys, has already put a short video out with some music. It's got the guitar going because of the guitar clip. So I think that's fun. I'll show that up on the screen. So that's coming, and as soon as it does, I think I'm going to do the review, even if it comes in the middle of the week. I'm so anxious to see that pen. I've also looking at, putting it up on the screen, I'm looking at my vintage Waterman 52.5. which has yet to arrive. I'm really hoping it arrives sometime soon. Looking forward to it. I found out that I didn't get the Waterman 52, but I got a Waterman 52 half. And I just should have done my homework before I bid for that pen. But the half means it's a lot slimmer. But I think the nib is the same. So I'm hoping the nib is the same. And I'm hoping, but for you vintage guys, let me know if I made a mistake. But I'll let you see it when I get it, obviously. So there you have, those two pens are in order. What pens did I get? Well, I got these three pens. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I got this vintage Omas Extra. Beautiful, beautiful pen with that very nice gold, 18 karat gold nib. I bought that at auction. I also got this, funny enough, I got this weird looking pen, and I'm going to talk about it in a second. I bought another Faber-Castell. This one is the Grip, which I guess rivals with the Safaris. And I'm going to be doing a review of this one, this EXO as well. And I've got another, not cheap, but inexpensive Faber-Castell pens. I think I have 3 or 4, and then I'm going to do a review of the pens all together, all at once. But I did want to show you this. Let me just show you how it writes. First of all, I haven't written with this in a while. So this is the, and I'm going to be doing a detailed review of this one. But this one is this is the Omas. So this is a fountain pen, but take a look at this beautiful Omas Extra. Very, very nice. I got to tell you, it's a fine nib, but really, really, really just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful nib. So that's the Omas Extra. Yeah, then I got this weird looking pen, and folks, I don't remember how I got this because I don't remember ordering it. It's got a duofold Parker look. It's got this nice finial, 2 finials there, okay? It looks like a 50th anniversary, and on the pen I see the years 1945 to 1995. So this is a pen that must have come out in 1995. It's a snap-on cap by a company, Chinese Yong, YONG-GU. Never heard of them. I don't know who these people are. But let me tell you, just a really, really nice, look at that. I mean, it's a fine, I think, but it just writes really nicely with a kind of a pencil feedback. Very, very nice. I'm going to probably do a review once I know where I got it. I think it was sent to me by Saint Pen PPS when I ordered some of his nibs, and he must have thrown this pen in there. But this is like that hero that I've been preaching about, vintage hero, writes really, really nicely. So I'm glad I got this pen. I might just going to fool around with it, play around with it for a little while longer and do some research. And if I can find out where I got it, I'll do a review. But if you see anything similar, I suggest you grab it. Probably not very expensive and a very nice nib. Very nice nib. So there you have my pen haul. So what I suggest next is that we'll look at my ink haul and we'll swatch some of those Van Dieman Encore Collection nib inks. Stay tuned. Okay, so we're back with my ink haul, or at least part of it. It's these 2 Van Dieman's Encore Collection. Let's do this this one first. Curious to see the bottles. I haven't opened them up yet. Oh, that looks nice. Oh, look at that. I think this is a new bottle. I put it this way. I have no inks from Van Dieman's that have this kind of a bottle shape. Wow, that is really, really nice. I mean, this Van Diemen's, I got to tell you, they've always, they're really, really sharp. Ah, very nice. So let's take a look at, this is the Barbara Seville. So let's see how this thing swatches. I'm swatching with Tilmore River paper. Wow. Royal blue, and I got a feeling that there's probably going to be some sheen at the end of this thing. So let me just, okay, so this is Van Diemen's Encore collection. And this is the Barber of Seville. That reminds me, let me just anecdote here. Let me just switch to my, so you can see my face. And we'll get, while this ink dries. When I saw Seville, it reminded me of something. I don't know if some of you are opera fans, because this Encore collection, I think you'll surmise is, Encore for music, and there's a music theme behind the Encore collection. And when I saw Barber of Seville, it reminded me of an opera. I don't know if you've ever heard the opera or have known the opera of Carmen, a Spanish opera. Dun dun da dun 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 da dun da da dum dum da da dum dum da da. Well, that one. I sang in that opera when I was in high school, and I sang the role of Escamillo, which was a bullfighter, a baritone. So I played in a few plays, in a few operas. I sang. I did Jesus Christ Superstar. I did My Fair Lady. So when I saw Barbara of Seville, I said, "Oh, it brought me back some great memories." High school, and it was in my last year of high school. I think I did 3 or 4 plays, a couple of rock operas. We did Tommy, etc. I mean, I was spending my days literally at school. I mean, I would do school during the day, and then at night, every night we were practicing for some kind of a play, So anyway, just an anecdote there. Let's return back to my inks, but that brings me back, many, many years, folks. Okay, let's go back to the ink. Yeah, it's not sheening as much as I thought it would. There is some red there, but I thought, and I think it's got to dry up a little more before we start to see some of the red sheen. So what have I else got? This one is Standing Ovation. Yeah, I got a standing ovation when I sang that Escamillo role. All my friends made sure I got one. So there you go. Beautiful bottle. Very, very nice. Let's see what this ink looks like. Okay. Oh, very, very, very nice color. Gotta tell you. Okay. Here we go. Isn't that gorgeous? Yeah, very, very nice. So let me just, my dip pen. So this again is Van Diemen's. The ink is nice and wet and very nice flow. Encore collection. And it's Standing Ovation. Yeah, when you write with it, first of all, it's beautiful. It's very smooth. You could see that there is a basic, pinkish red or purplish red base tint with a brown kind of sheening. And you'll probably see that even better. The red sheen's starting to come out in the blue there, as you could see, as it dries. So I'm going to ink the 4-pen Resurrection will be inked with these inks. So by when we get there, hopefully these inks will all be dry. And we're just going to put at the end here this little sample. This is a shimmering ink. So we'll see what this looks like that they threw in. Yeah, very light. I can see why I didn't order it. Whoop, I spilled from the other one. Yeah, I don't like this ink. It's just too light for me. I don't really appreciate those light inks. I know some of you do. But this is the, yeah, it's too, and it's very dry. Van Dieman's. I think this is Swan Lake. Yeah, too light for me. Explains why I didn't order it. But anyway, thanks Van Dieman's for having sent the little sample. But not for me, not for me. So there you have the ink haul. Yeah, and you can tell those two inks, as they're drying, their real characters are coming out. So what we're going to do is we're going to let these things dry. As they dry, we'll be able to see a lot better what they look like. So that's the ink haul. Next, let's take a look at 4-pen Resurrection. As for some of you who are joining me for the first time, I have in my collection several hundred, 400, 500 pens, a lot of which I've kind of forgotten about. So what I've decided to do is, rather than sell them, keep them all, but resurrect 3 or 4 pens at a time, show them to you. And these are pens that I haven't inked in years. And so resurrect them and see if they're going to, surprise me in any way, if my original opinion of these pens has changed. And if they're worthwhile, I'll put them into my rotation for next week. And then the following week, I'll let you know how they fared. So stay tuned for the 4-pen Resurrection. So we're back with the 4-pen Resurrection. My first pen, if you watched Emmy Wayne Jones this week, on his live show on Tuesday, is the main topic of his live show was, Sailor 1911, how it had been a kind of a forgotten pen in his collection, and that he kind of resurrected, if you will. So that got me thinking. Yeah, I wrote to him, in the chat, saying, I keep forgetting about my Sailor 1911 for some reason. It just never gets to stay in my, weekly rotation. And it's a great little pen. It's got that 21 karat nib. And for some reason, I just don't. Maybe it's because it's a little small for me. I know it's a great pen, but I never end up using it. So it kind of reminded me of the 1911, and I said, you know what? I'm going to resurrect my 1911. So let's take a look at how this 1911 writes. Cut into my overhead camera. First of all, it's got that beautiful, 21 karat nib, the Sailor nib, that we all are familiar with, I think. So this is the Sailor 1911 in classic black with gold trimmings. I'm not sure it comes in any different colors. Not familiar, but if it does, Then this is just the standard version. The nib is a Sailor 21 karat, and I think this is a bold. I forget now if this is a bold or a, yeah, it's a medium, it's an MB, so a medium bold or broad. Beautiful nib. Pencil feedback. The ink, of course, is part of the haul, is the Van Dieman's Encore collection, and this is the, which one is the Barber? Yeah, the blue one is the Barber of Seville. Beautiful ink. Very, very nice ink. So that's the first pen. My Sailor 1911. Gorgeous pen. We're going to use it this week, folks. We're going to use it this week. Okay, so put that aside. What have I got for you next? Well, what have I got for you next is this is a Santini Libra Amber. Again, beautiful 18 karat in-house nib. It's a stub. Look at that nib. It's just gorgeous. For some reason, it never gets to stay in my weekly rotation. So I've forgotten it. I don't think it's years that I haven't used it, but it's been years since it's been in my actual every day for a week rotation, if you will. So this is the Santini. Look how thick that nib is. Beautiful. Libra in the amber resin. The nib is a Santini 18 karat stub. I mean, it's referred to as a stub, but it's really more of a broad with some line variation, if you will. And the ink is Van Dieman's Encore, and this is Standing Ovation. Okay, so those are two pens that I would categorize as expensive, on the more expensive side, although the 1911 is a reasonably priced pen, but this Santini is a little more expensive. Okay, so it's going to go into my weekly rotation. What have I got for you next? Well, what I got for you next is these. These are two. I actually have about 5 or 6 of these. Way back at the beginning when I was ordering pens, when didn't know what I was ordering. In fact, these are what they're referred to. They're Indian pens. Click, C-L-I-C-K. Not the greatest pens, but I think I paid these things $15, $20 each. And I've got them on almost every color. Now, I haven't tested this one, and I just inked it now. So let's just hope it works. Yeah, there you go. It's not. It's got a FPR 1.0 stub, and I was afraid that it wasn't going to perform, just because it doesn't look like it really belongs. Let me just see if I can get it to start there. Yeah, well, that's what happens, eh? With some of these pens, you got to be patient. You don't pay a lot for them, but that's what they say. So this is the Click. And I don't know what model this is, but I know that it's an Indian pen. The nib is a FPR steel number 6 1.0 stub. The ink is that same Van Dieman's Encore Barber Seville. But you know what? Once it gets going, very, very pleasurable. Nothing wrong with this pen, let me tell you. We'll see if it kind of dries up on you during the week. This is just its original nib, the click nib. Just the same pen. Let me just here put this nib. This is a fine nib. Look at that. Very nice. This is the... No, this is not an FPR. This is a click number 6 steel. And it's a fine nib. So that's the... And I've got a red one, an orange one. I've got them almost in every color. So we'll put these two in our rotation. There you have it. Okay. Now the next pen, and the fourth one, is this Pen BBS. It's a 355, but it's the new 355 model. Very, very nice. Beautiful amber of a cat with a medium, with those beautiful juicy medium Pen BBS nibs. So I haven't tried this. I just inked it a few seconds ago. Let's just hope it does what it's supposed to do. So this is Pen BBS 355. I'm going to put new, because I've got a couple 355s, which are the older ones. I think they have problems with the piston. New, and this is amber. The nib is a Pen BBS number 6 steel medium nib. It's a medium nib that kind of writes like a fine, if you will. The ink is the Van Dieman's Encore. Standing ovation. But you can definitely see the brown sheen. I don't know if the camera picks it up, but in real life you could see it with the Santini probably a little bit better than you can with the Pen BBS, but I can assure you it's there. So this is going to be a fun ink for the week for my 4 pens. So there you have my 4-pen resurrection for the week. Inked them up, let you know next week how they fared. So what's next? Well, let's take a look at some feedback, some comments, questions from the audience, as they say. We'll be right back. Okay, these are the pens that I had inked up during, some of them were last week and the week before, and that got into my week's rotation. And just very quickly, we have this Jinhao. This is the Jinhao, for those of you who didn't see last week, with a, it's a 9019 with a number 8 steel nib, but it's a stub. a St. Pen PPS grinded bobby nib. So that was a lot of fun to use this week. Similarly, I have this other bobby nib, which is this kind of an architect Japanese grind. This is the Jinhao. Can't get used to writing with this nib. This is the 9013 with a number 6 special grind. But as you can see, writes really nicely. Now this pen I put in my rotation. This Joya Capodimonte, folks, with this Joya nib, and I keep harping about Joya, but I think they're slowly becoming one of my favorite pen makers. It's just beautiful. I mean, this is and I never thought I would say this, this is not even a stub. This is a Joya Capodimonte. And it's a Joya medium nib. But I used this pen all week, and I think I inked it up 3 or 4 times. Very, very nice. I also am enjoying my V200, Asvine V200, but with that FPR flex nib. So this is the Asvine. Man, is it springy. V200 with the fountain pen revolution flex. And somebody told me that the silver colored flex nib from FPR is a little springier than the dual tone or the gold toned. I think they were right. This one has just got more spring than the dual toned one for some reason. So I had a lot of fun with it. Then of course I had my always hard to pull, my Carras Vertex. I didn't use this pen a lot. Something about this pen I don't like, especially at snap cap. Did use my Tatcha. This is my Tatcha Spectrum. Tatcha Spectrum. Yeah, and somebody had asked me the nib. It's a Sailor nib, but it is a steel double broad nib. There you have it, but it is a Sailor nib. Steel Sailor. Very nice pen, by the way. Very nice, this Tatcha. My forgotten Visconti Rembrandt in red. You know what? This pen just, I love this pen all week. So this is, whoop, here we go. Visconti Rembrandt red with a broad nib. Really, really juicy. Very nice all week. Did what it was supposed to do, as they say. And then, of course, there was my TWSBI Diamond 550 ALR. Didn't use it too much. These TWSBIs just don't catch my fancy anymore. I don't know why. And it's a beautiful pen. Holds very nicely. It's got a beautiful nib. But it's just, for some reason, it just didn't attract me all week. So it barely got any use. So there you have my resurrected pens and more that I used all week. What else do I got for you? For terms of questions. Well, there are 2 that I want to deal with this week. One is, people are asking me, can you show us how you store your pens your paper journals, and your inks. We're going to do one at a time. I'm going to show you how I store my inks. And maybe next time or the week there in the future, we'll show you how I store my pens. How's that? But before we get to the ink storage, there's one question that was asked of me, and that was, do you find that fountain pen impress your clients more so than ballpoints or pencils? If so, any that do so more than others? Well, I can tell you, I had a meeting this week. Let me just go to my overhead. And I had this pen at the meeting, which was the Gioia Capodimonte. Man, did it attract. I can tell you, people ask me a lot of questions. What kind of a pen is that? You know, and in fact, a client said, "Can I write with that? Can I try it?" And I said, "Sure." And we started talking about, fountain pens and, that he knows of the Mont Blanc, but he never thought that there's all these other companies. And I explained to him, and then I took out this one, and I said, "Well, take a look at this thing." He says, "Wow, it's transparent. I'd never seen a pen this way." And I told him, "This is a Jinao, and it costs $20. And compared to 200 more for this Capodimonte, I showed him this, transparent one with the Asvine, and he thought it was just out of this world. And you know what, folks? I think I've got a client who's going to become a fountain pen collector. He's interested. He's told me, "Send me your channel. Send me your." Would like to buy some of these pens. And he's a well-to-do gentleman. So I'm sure that if he gets into it, my God, he's going to buy he said he does have a Mont Blanc. I'm not sure which one. He didn't have it with him. It was a gift. But he loved, because I took out this and I showed him all these pens, and he just loved it. So yeah, I can tell you that all the time I have a meeting with, other than, the folks at the office, employees or colleagues that know about me being a fountain pen fanatic, but any clients or first time contact with any of these pens, I can tell you there's comments every single time. What are you writing with? What is that? And they're fascinated by it. So that answers that question. So the last thing I'd like to do, I'm going to take my phone and we'll do some filming, and I'll show you how I store my inks. Be right back. Okay, so here we are. Some of you have asked me, how do I store my inks? Well, I've got a series of shelves. This is the first one, and just to give you an idea, the shelf is no thicker than about, I would say 7 inches about, okay? But it's got multiple shelves. So, for example, here, these are all my black and gray inks, okay? Then as you go down, you see I've got my brown and gold inks. Here are all my green inks, first couple of shelves, the first 3 or 4. Then I've got some loose, either collections or doubles of inks. So those are essentially 2 very nice shelves. You can see my Alchemy 3 inks at the top. In addition, I have this other shelf, and as you can see at the top are my 3 shelves of purple, and you've got my red, 3 shelves of red. The beauty about this shelf is that this shelf, let me just kind of swirls, so it doesn't take up the space, but it's double-sided. So on this side, you can see the first 3 shelves are blue, and then I've got the orange there. So essentially, there are hundreds of bottles in here, and each shelf goes, there's this deep. You can almost put three inks deep, if you will, okay, depending on the size of the bottle. But there you have it. So that's the rotating shelf, okay? And then, of course, you've got my 2 shelves here. Bought both on Amazon, by the way. So, you know, and you could see, I mean, just on this shelf, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and probably, I would say about 15 could fit on every shelf if you packed it in properly, okay? And I'm missing quite a few because I have a desk where I'm swatching all my inks to categorize them and catalog them, etc. And I've got a bunch of blue inks that I've removed from the shelves that are presently being swatched. So they're missing from the blue section, if you will. So there you have how I store my inks, folks. Stay tuned for the next section of my recap. So, yeah, there we go. So there you have it. I know my camera was moving there. I hope you saw it kind of give you a glimpse of how I store my inks. And before I leave, I just wanted to show you the 2 inks, how they've dried up. Take a look at that. Isn't that nice? The Van Dieman's. That's the Barber of Seville. Very nice with the red sheen. And you've got the Standing Ovation, which is kind of a pinkish red with that brown gold sheen, which is very, very nice. So, ragazzi, grazie. Thank you very much for joining me. Hope I've been informative. I hope I've been a little bit entertaining. Enjoy your pens. Enjoy your week. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Lots of you watch, but don't subscribe. Click that button. It helps. It helps the channel. Take care, folks. Enjoy your week.